Hi, I'm Phil Desjardins, and this particular section of the middle of nowhere that we're at is Western Tibet. We're near the village of Tingri. I was here back in 1986, 20 years ago, and we came in and there was a lot of clouds, didn't get to see much, and when we got up to go to Kathmandu, looked up and saw some beautiful mountains, and one particular just dominated the skyline, and I didn't know it then that 20 years later I was going to be coming back to that mountain to try to climb it. So join me as I join 12 climbers from the United States, Mexico, England, France, and most importantly with about a dozen Nepalese Sherpas and Tibetans as we try to climb Cho Oyu, the Turquoise Goddess.
Driving from the one that I became, knowing things will never be the same. Oh, and I don't know where I'm going, but I know where I have been, and the places I am leaving I will never see again. Whoa.
Cho Oyu is on the border between Nepal and Tibet, and our team started our journey by flying to Lhasa, Tibet's capital. We spent a few days touring the Buddhist monasteries. At 12,000 feet, we needed the time here to condition our bodies to the altitude, as well as adapt our minds and souls to the spirits of this land.
I gladly will release, because I know there's no controlling a soul in search of peace, and the heart that I've been hiding will find a little light, something more inspiring, and I know that I will finally get it right.
I had been this way before, 20 years earlier, on my last trip through Tibet, and this trip relived the same sights, sounds, and yes, even the same smells of yak butter that is used for the ceremonial candles.
You see it in me too.
After a few gentle hikes to encourage acclimatization, we bought a few last-minute essentials before hitting the road.
Dove bars expired, okay, of course. We've got genuine yak jerky.
The road to base camp was breathtaking, and not just due to the altitude.
The road is closed because they're paving it, and we're going to walk over there with all our gear, get in the truck, and keep on going. Well, this isn't the most comfortable way to travel, but when you want to climb the world's sixth highest mountain, you got to put up with a lot worse than this. And then we hit a Chinese police checkpoint, and they told us we were bad boys, and we couldn't ride in the truck anymore, so we all climbed out, and we're walking to Tingri.
After a week in Tibet, we finally got to the end of the road, base camp at 15,000 feet, with a beautiful view of Cho Oyu. We organized our gear for loading onto the yaks, who would carry our equipment for 11 miles until we got to Advanced Base Camp, which is at 18,000 feet. Advanced Base Camp would be our home for 4 weeks. It was a relief to be back in the familiar mountain environment and away from hotels, restaurants, and roads. As we got closer to base camp and higher up, we became surrounded by dozens of 6,000 meter and 7,000 meter peaks, each one of them a tempting climb in itself. I decided to join a commercial expedition through International Mountain Guides based in Washington State. This way I could relax, not worry about so many details, and just think about climbing and contemplate the wondrous scenery. Cho Oyu is only 20 miles away from Mount Everest, so the only way you can get a view of Mount Everest is to reach Cho Oyu's summit. But first, we needed permission from the Turquoise Goddess to set foot upon the mountain.
Hi, behind me our Sherpas and Tibetans are getting ready for a puja, which is a Tibetan Buddhist religious ceremony. And it is a necessary, critical item for this expedition. It is considered to be very inauspicious, very bad luck to be on the mountain until we've had our puja and our blessing. And in the background they're setting up offerings of food, both traditional foods and some rather modern foods too. And all the climbers will be putting their ice axes and crampons and harnesses, things that they want to be blessed to protect us on the mountain. And once the puja is over, the mountain is now open for climbing, and we will be blessed, and we will hopefully have very, very good luck.
Buddha said everything's on fire, everything's on fire, everything's on fire. Buddha said everything's on fire, you better find a deep cool pond. Buddha said your blood's on fire, your blood's on fire, your blood's on fire. Buddha said your blood's on fire, you better find a deep cool pond. Says your soul's on fire, your soul's on fire, your soul's on fire. Buddha says your soul's on fire, you better find a deep cool pond.
And at the end of the ceremony, we throw barley flour and put it in everybody's hair and their face and all. And it symbolizes the wish that may you live long enough to have white hair and a white beard. Even though in my case, I think I've already passed that point.
They said the world's on fire, the world's on fire, the world's on fire. Buddha said the world's on fire, you better find a deep cool pond. Buddha said everything's on fire, everything's on fire, everything is on fire. Buddha said everything's on fire, you better find a deep cool pond.
Very old man.
Cheers.
You can't overlook the critical support offered by our Sherpas and Tibetan teammates. Their high-altitude mountaineering experience is unsurpassed by all but a handful of Westerners. Because they're already adapted to the altitude and knew the route well, our Sherpa and Tibetan teammates were the advance party in establishing the higher camps. I wasn't used to being catered to this way, but I also accepted the reality that they are the backbone of nearly all successful Himalayan climbs. The common Sherpa greeting is Namaste, which means I salute the divine that is inside you. So what better way to introduce our Sherpa and Tibetan team than by saying Namaste.
Namaste, namaste, don't worry, got to namaste, namaste. May you walk in peace, namaste, namaste. Don't worry, got to acknowledge the divine in everyone you meet.
Hi, I'm Kami. My name is full name is Ang Chiring Sherpa. I'm from Pangbuche. I have 7 summit in Everest, 6 summit in Cho Oyu, 8,000 meter, 3 summit in Sisa Bangma. Then Amadavla, Pumari, many. I live many.
Yeah, I'm Ang Tafang. I'm from Pangboche. So I've been many expedition. So this is my 31 expedition. And 20 times Everest. 8 times Cho Oyu. 1 time Dhaulagiri. One time is Makalu. I'm now 41 years old.
My name is Tashitring. I come from Tibet, Shigaze area. I'm 25 years old.
Okay, my name is Kamil Shekpa. I'm now 28 years old. I live in Solukhumbu, in Porche. I in 9 Everest and 8 Summit. And I think 8 is Cho Oyu, 7 Summit. And 2 is Manasulu. 1 Summit. And I have married. I have 2 daughters.
My name is Tashitring Sherpa. I'm from Nepal. I'm 36 years old and I'm climbing mountain Everest 11 times. 8 times is from south side and 3 times is from north side. And climbing Cho Oyu 2 times and climbing Amatalam.
My name is Mingmatin Sherpa. 20.
20.
Yeah.
And where do you live?
Asino. Porche.
Porche in Nepal.
Yeah, Nepal.
Everest 2 times. And Cho Oyu?
1 time.
My name is Tenzin. I come from Taxton County, Tingri County, Shigatse Prefecture, Tibet Autonomous Region. I'm 20 years old.
This is my restaurant in Porche.
Porche.
My village Porche in Kumbu.
Are you married?
Yes,
How many children?
I have 1 brother. This is my 9th time in Cho Oyu.
Aha.
I'm 7 time in Get Summit. 1 time is no summit.
Okay.
My average 6 times, right?
Great.
Then 2 times summit in south and north.
Okay.
My name is Benjamin.
Okay.
I come from Yelam County. My school is in Lhasa,
Ah,
Tibet mountain.
you are Tibetan.
Kaji,
And what do you do around here?
I'm cooking.
Well, that is the most important job of this whole team.
My name is Srin Tindu. My full name is Srin Tindu. My short name is Srin. I'm from Lhasa, Tibet Mountaineering Guide School.
How old are you?
Okay, I'm 18 years old.
18 years old, and what 8,000 meter peaks have you climbed?
Yes, I have 1 time Cho Oyu.
Great.
Yes.
Well, that's more than a lot of us. For the past year, I had trained very intensively for this trip. But once we reached Advanced Base Camp, the training was officially over. Instead of gaining strength and endurance, the body needed to acclimatize to the altitude, and the best way to do that was to rest and give the body time to adapt. At 18,500 feet, there is a 50% level of oxygen per lungful of air than at sea level. In order to acclimatize, we made a series of trips to the higher camps, each trip going higher and higher. In between these trips, we practiced fixed line technique, learned how to use the oxygen system, wondered what the base camp cook was going to serve next, and tried to get hotels on Boardwalk and Park Place. Just prior to our summit push, a large storm came in that shut the mountain down for nearly a week. It snowed constantly for days, and then we had to wait out the avalanche danger. But finally, our moment arrived.
It is now the end of September. We have been at Advanced Base Camp for almost 4 weeks, and today, the 29th of September, we are finally making our summit bid. So we're leaving ABC in a couple minutes. We're going to spend the night at Camp 1, and then a night at Camp 2, and then our first night at Camp 3. And it's not going to be a full night. We're going to probably get up shortly after midnight and head for the summit. Hopefully we'll be on the summit on October 2nd, but kind of anything can happen.
It's not for me, I'll tell you.
Been feeling down, like you read it on your
route to Camp 1 starts on the lateral moraines of the Gyabrag Glacier. After 3 hours of gentle terrain, we reach the steep slope that heads to Camp 1. Watch out for the bowling balls released by the climbers above.
We could be light years away, so let's go. We're traveling at the speed of. We're traveling at the speed of soul. We're traveling at the speed of. We're traveling at the speed of soul. Push and shove. Just another traffic jam.
Camp 1 is at the permanent snowline on a ridge that yields beautiful 360-degree views. The route following the ridgeline beckons, but this is a great place to rest. Tomorrow we'll climb the ridge.
If this didn't hurt so much, I'd be having fun.
The way to Camp 2 has fixed lines along the ridge. Not really necessary, but you might as well play it safe.
I overpacked. We're headed to Camp 2, which is at about 23,000 feet. The barometer says we're at 45% of sea level pressure. Our next obstacle is up there, big ice cliff. And that's kind of the crux of the whole climb. Luckily there's some fixed lines, we're going to traverse around it. Then on the way down we're going to rappel off the ice cliff. That'll be a lot of fun. Nothing to it.
A couple of hours of slogging brings us to Camp 2 at 23,000 feet. It is on a flat section, far enough from the slope to Camp 3 to yield some avalanche protection.
Tomorrow, we go to Camp 3, and every step for me is an altitude record.
The route to Camp 3 was easy, aside from the altitude. I noticed that some other climbers used bottled oxygen for this leg, and one from another team had to be carried down with a leg injury.
Come on, baby, let's go. We're traveling at the speed of soul. We're traveling at the speed of. We're traveling at the speed. Come on, baby, let's go. We're traveling at the speed of. We're traveling at the speed.
Once at Camp 3, it was time to just rest and contemplate the next day's climb. Above me was the yellow band, a layer of limestone that used to be the ocean floor 50 million years ago.
Boy, I'm beat.
After a sleepless evening, we get up at midnight, put on the boots, crampons, and oxygen mask, and head out into the darkness for the summit. We leave Camp 3 at 24,500 feet at 1 in the morning, scaling the yellow band by headlamp and continuing upward in moonless darkness.
This moment will never come again. I know it because it has never been before.
As the sky brightens, I notice mountains below me that a few days ago towered above. The steepness slackens, and soon I am on the summit plateau, where it always looks like the summit is just 50 feet away. Feeling excited, I step up the pace. The sun strikes my left cheek. I instinctively turn and see a sight that tells me I've reached the summit of Cho Oyu. 20 miles to the east, looking more like a sister than a towering goddess mother of the earth, is Mount Everest. A few steps later, I stand on Cho Oyu's highest point. The other climbers descend, and I realize that for the next few moments, I am the highest person standing on Earth.
As the sunlight dances through the leaves, the patterns they awaken me, and I say, hey, hey now. Oh, this moment will never come again. I know it because it has never been before.
My biggest emotion is one of relief. After years of gaining mountaineering experience, months of solid training, weeks of acclimatization, days of pushing to Camp 3, and hours of relentlessly climbing upward in darkness, these moments on the summit make all that time and effort worth it.
Soon it will be there. Here we are now. Soon it will be there. Here we are now. Soon it will be there. Nothing more. It's nothing less than the place that we are in this moment.
It's not over us. It's not over us. And let's see, and let's see, and let's see pain.
Here we are now. Soon it will be there. Here we are now.
I had not conquered Cho Oyu, but rather myself. I'd conquered the moments of doubt as I stared at the mountain steepness. I'd conquered all those impulses to ease off on training. And most of all, I'd conquered the attitude that high-altitude mountaineering was something that other people did.
This moment will never come again. I know it because it has never been before. I listen to the rain outside the door. A thousand voices singing the songs that ain't been sung before. Never been there, never been before. Never been there, never been before. Never been there, never been before. Never been there.
This here and now is pretty cold. Let's go home. Although I admit I am happy to have spent an hour at the top, the summit of Cho Oyu is just one stop in what has been a lifelong mountaineering trip. Climbing has led me to fascinating areas of our world over the last 20 years, and will continue to open new areas as I introduce adventure to the next generation. Dreams, which can rob us of living in the here and now, are great as long as they don't enslave you, but rather serve as a motivation to learn new skills, gain new experiences, and grow in spirit. I am reminded of a saying that we are not old until regrets take the place of dreams. So in parting, I'd like to say,
Here I am, 47 years old, and I feel very, very young.
These roses under my window make no reference to former roses or better roses. They are what they are. For them, there is no time. There's simply the rose. It's perfect in every moment of its existence. But we postpone or remember. We don't live in the present, but with reverted eyes, we lament the past, or heedless of all the riches that surround us, stand on tiptoe to try and see the future. We can't be happy and strong until, like the rose, we too live with nature in the present, above time.
I looked away, and yesterday was gone. I shield my eyes in if I'm wrong. There's only one place that's here with you. There's only